All right, everyone. Welcome back. I am James Pinedo.
And I'm Peter Pinedo.
We are the Pinedo Brothers, filmmakers, artists who are working to revitalize the world of Catholic art through film and novels and a lot of other things. Sorry that we're so late today. I got a late edit gig that had a hard deadline, so it's on me. Peter had everything set up, and now we're here. We're talking about the Unfollowed and
The Last of Us. Talking about how the two are tied and how the Last of Us inspired the Unfollowed in a lot of ways. So if you don't know, The Last of Us is actually a video game, and yes, we play video games. The Last of Us is in my opinion, one of the best video games I've ever played. Would you say the same?
You know, I don't know about the best.
Okay.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. The reason why I wouldn't say maybe the best is I'm not a huge zombie game. Like, I enjoy it, but it's not what sticks with me is zombie video games, because it's a little horror-esque, you know, and I kind of gross out sort of thing. But I would say it's definitely the best zombie game I've ever played, and it's also just a flat-out wonderful game with a great storyline and great characters. It's such a nuanced game that you should, if you think about it and say, "Oh, that's just some kind of silly zombie thing," don't. It's not Resident Evil. It's way more nuanced than that.
Yeah, it's got a lot of levels to it. It's a very well thought out game, and it's a lot of fun too. It's Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog's really good. They know what they're doing. They know how to make a good game.
They do indeed. So what we're doing here is we're going to compare a scene from that video game to a part of your book. And perhaps, Peter, you could set up, first of all, what the video game is about, and then set up the scene, and then we'll watch it.
Okay, so yeah. So like we said, The Last of Us is a zombie video game, which, you know, The Unfollowed is also a zombie story. But it's set in it's a very harsh reality, living in a world where society has collapsed, and it's not a fun time. People are killing each other. People are going at basically anytime you run into someone, they're trying to kill you. So it's a very harsh, dark reality. But this scene is kind of like an unexpected moment where you're traveling with this young girl named Ellie, who you're trying to protect her throughout the game, and she's grown up in this very dark, harsh world. But she has this unexpected moment where she encounters something that really moves her. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the scene.
You gotta see this.
What is it? What the hell is it?
Are you kidding me? Come on, hurry up. You see this? Don't scare it.
I won't.
What are you doing?
It's all right. Come here. Hey, fella. Hurry up, come on.
Hey there. So fucking cool. Aw, where's it off to? Here, come on, let's go.
Slow down, kiddo.
Come on. Come on, come on, come on! Oh, man. Wow. Look at those things.
So, is this everything you were hoping for?
It's got its ups and downs, but you can't deny the view, though.
And we're back.
Yeah. So I really like that scene. When I first played it, it really stuck with me, for a lot of different reasons. But that song actually, that plays in the background. I don't know if it came out so well in the recording on just a random YouTube video recording that we found of it. But that song by Gustavo, I don't know how do you say his last name? Something or another.
Santaolalla.
Yeah, that guy. Very talented musician. But that one is called Vanishing Grace. And I think that name kind of very much captures the feeling that I got when I watched that scene. And it's a very grace-filled moment, a moment where this child here, she's grown up in a very dark world, but there's still that she's able to when she sees beauty, she's able to recognize the importance of it, and really just kind of stops the movement of everything, and they just take a moment to look in and see and kind of appreciate this. Yeah, were you struck by that at all?
Absolutely. I love that. The moment of grace. It's something that, sorry, I forgot that I need to switch because it was such a good question. The moment of grace that you can have in the darkest little corners of a story, that punches through, that grace punches through, and you reveal yourself as who you are as an artist, as someone who believes in grace, someone who believes in magic, someone who believes in something beyond this world. I think this reveals itself as, when you watch it, this reveals itself as something that's far above than the Resident Evil fare, or that the world is ugly fare. What you often see with filmmakers or with artists is that we seem as artists to think that true life means smearing mud on a lens, because that's what true life is like. But it's not. There's a deeper reality out there, and a scene like this reveals something of a deeper reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, yeah, I really appreciated that scene, because it is it's a harsh, hard game, or hard story, but there's still moments in that are moments of hope and grace, which I think are very important. And so, when I was writing my story, The Unfollowed, I put in similar moments like that, kind of scattered throughout, moments of hope, moments of light. So we'll just take a moment, and we're going to read one of those moments. Let's see if I can find the spot. Alright, y'all ready? Here we go. Without giving the crying figure another thought, I rose to follow the music. It was now deep into the night, and I stumbled in the dark through the mall. When I stalked back into the open air, I found myself by a long channel illuminated by a full moon. Nothing stirred. The air was still and the world quiet. There was only the music. The channel turned into a lake, which I left behind to join with a major highway that stretched on straight for a great distance. Much to my dismay, the music slowly faded back into nothingness, so I aimlessly continued on. It took 2 nights before the monotony of the road was broken up by the immense shapes which reached up from the earth like great fists into the sky. Buildings, I recalled. I had happened upon the remains of a once great city. The buildings were taller than anything I had ever seen before. Some were straight and proud, others were bent and crashed into one another. All was still. It seemed that not a single soul was left. Without giving it much thought, I wandered into one of the great fists and began the long ascent upward. The building was dark and overgrown with vegetation. As in the mall, every step I took sent a series of echoes throughout the structure. The noise didn't worry me. I was concerned with nothing other than hearing the music again. I went higher and higher. Inside the building, I felt a great sense of loneliness. I was filled with an immense feeling of loss and sorrow. It felt as if the building itself were talking to me, telling me of its despair and it being abandoned by all. The building creaked and groaned in the wind. Every creak and groan was as another lament and a sad song. It continued upward until the stairway was blocked by a massive slab of concrete. I found a doorway that led away from the staircase and deeper into the building. The door itself had long since been smashed into splinters. I paced through the doorway and entered into a ghostly office space. Cubicles and desks to the line of the room, scattered paperwork and overturned coffee mugs lay haphazardly throughout the office. A curious dark shape lay on the floor. I drew closer to discover a human skeleton laying crumpled upon the floor, its clothes in tatters. The first rays of the morning sun filtered into the room through the long windows on the wall to my right. So I left the giant slab of concrete that smashed through the entire wall and lay embedded into the very structure of the building I stood in. Almost lackadaisically, I sauntered over to the demolished wall and climbed until I stood atop a concrete slab. What I saw surprised me. I was now standing in a new building which had fallen to become lodged in its neighbor. The building had flipped horizontally so that I was standing on the wall while all that was left of its ceilings and floors had become walls. Pieces of furniture littered the floors and loose electrical wires protruded from all directions. Curious, I stalked forward, deeper into the overturned building. The floor shook as I walked, but it did not worry me. I passed by a few rooms, and then the building began to curve more diagonally. Just before the curve, the walls had crumbled so that I could look out. Outside was an empty drop of hundreds of feet. Below me the streets looked like small lines, and the abandoned cars looked like little bugs. The sun had begun to rise, and its rays shone through the broken buildings, reflecting off their glass. Despite the devastation, it was unbelievably beautiful. A warmth and peace came over me that I had not felt in a long time. I paced back to the office space, found some blank paper and a pencil, and then returned to my perch where I could watch the sunrise. I sat down on the wall that was now a floor and began to write. As I wrote, Zoe's smile came back to me. I recalled Kara's laugh. I remembered all my loss, felt all my pain and my hurt and regret. But oddly enough, it felt good. I felt human again. I was me once more.
You know, when I just to give people a little bit of context, we need to actually say what's going on here in this scene. So the main character, Raphael, has been infected with a zombie bite, and he's slowly becoming a zombie. And something that in your story that's so interesting is that it's not, there's like lapses and relapses. It's almost like a cancer where you fight it off for a little bit and then it comes back and you lose yourself to it, and then you could fight it off again and then it could come back, and there's no telling really how long it would last. And what had happened with this is Raphael, the main character, had been a zombie, and a lot of bad things had happened. Like he had done, I don't want to give away spoilers, but bad stuff. He had done things that really changed the shape, where you think the book is going one way and then it just goes another way because he really messed up. And what this scene is it catches us at a moment where he's lost himself and you think he's never going to go back. But what he does is he goes and he sees this beautiful thing. It's in spite of desolation and all the pain and bad things that have happened, he sees something beautiful and is affected by it. He's changed by it. And that allows him to rediscover his humanity and go back to kind of fight off this cancer, this virus that's going at him, at least for a little while longer, and become himself again. And when I first read that, I thought, this is why we create. This is why we do things. We do things because we want to capture a little moment of beauty, a little moment of truth, and then allow that to be seen by someone else and be changed for the better for it. Someone's life becomes better by reading your book, by watching one of our movies. That's why we're creating. And I loved it. It's by far my favorite part of the book because it's one of my favorite parts of reading any book, period. I loved that. It reminds me a lot of Brothers Karamazov at the end, where the main character goes, remember this moment now. When all bad things have happened, just remember this moment and remember that you are good and can be again if you happen to not be at the moment. So, yeah, in my mind, you're in great company. You and Brothers Karamazov.
Yeah, thank you. But I think, yeah, that these moments where we recognize the beauty around us, or we see something that really resounds within you, I think is very important to just being human and to realizing who you are and what you're capable of. Like you said, at this point in the story, Raphael has definitely lost his way, and he's given way to this infection inside of him that's making him something that's less than human. So for me, it's kind of those two ideas are very tied together. That idea of seeing something beautiful and then it triggering in you a kind of a response of kind of as in response to that, like something that makes you feel deeper, something within yourself, making you realize I'm human and I can recognize these things, and it makes me feel this way. So if you notice in the book, he sees this way from up this demolished building in this decimated downtown setting. He sees the sun, and it makes him not just remember that he's a person who is capable of making decisions and continuing and to fight, but also it makes him remember things that he loves. The sunset is just a sunset. It has nothing really to do with anything that he's gone through in his life. It doesn't have anything to do with Zoe or Kara. That's his girlfriend and his little sister. But he remembers those things, and he ties that into this idea of beauty. So that those ideas of beauty and memory are very tied in his mind, and I think they're tied in my mind as well. So yeah, that was something that I really wanted to put in there and kind of have that moment.
Well, it was a beautiful moment. I'm glad that moment exists and that I was able to read it, because I feel changed by it, by seeing that. I'm curious though, what does that have to do with when you say appreciating beauty allows us to be human? What exactly do you mean by that? Like, is it okay? Well, just a dog doesn't look at a beautiful vista and think that it's beautiful. Can you say a little bit more about what you mean by that, by beauty making us human?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things I think that go into it, and I think oftentimes people who go about their life, they could be living a good life doing lots of good things, but oftentimes we can kind of get caught up in the humdrum activities, getting stuck in traffic and different things, and then we don't take the time to just look around and take in something that's beautiful, or to really notice something that is a gift. Creation is a gift, and different moments are gifts. And so I think that it's that idea of beauty is something that is part of our nature, and so that's why when we see that, it resounds with us so well, because we have, like you said, we are more than dogs, and we can realize, we can understand and contemplate even things that we don't understand. We can contemplate it and reflect on it. And it's kind of often been an idea of mine that, like, say you go outside and you're out in the country or something, you look up into the sky, and you will be, if you're from the city, you'll see something that will surprise you. You'll see stars in the sky. But you'll see these millions and millions of stars in the sky, and it's striking and it's very beautiful. But one of the most incredible things to me to realize is that out of all of this creation, we are still the most incredible creation out there. We as human beings are basically cosmic wonders ourselves. And so it's kind of like beauty contemplating beauty, which I think is where the amazingness of all of this comes. And so I think, that part of our nature is something that needs to be kind of more thought about more often.
Yeah, when you say this, the thing I think of immediately is Genesis, the book of Genesis, and God creates man, and he realizes that man is good. He doesn't realize, he states it. He saw that it was good. And this is something that modernity has gone to war with. This idea that man is good, that man is beautiful. Obviously, I'm not gonna pick a bone with someone that says that man is capable. Well, man is capable of the most horrific, terrible things. Yes, man can be way more brutal than nature can. Although nature can be a beast. Nature can be a bear. But at the same time, man is capable of being an angel, and what he is, what his essence is good, is beautiful. It's the exact opposite of what someone like Stephen Hawking would say. I remember Hawking. I don't understand. I'm gonna go a little rant here. I don't understand why Hawking in pop culture is put up as this wonderful person, and Eddie Redmayne plays him on a movie, and it's romantic and beautiful. Some of the things he said are terrible. Like, I think he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he was the one that said, "Oh yes, man is created in his own image, and it's a computer virus." It's a computer virus. That's what he thinks of us, as something that destroys and that is malfunctioning and does what should not be done. And the scientists have often taken up that cry that we are just some virus. That's a pop culture phrase. We are the virus. Mm-hmm. Well, we do bad things. We create a lot of problems for ourselves. But we are good. That's the war cry of Christianity. That's the war cry of Judeo-Christianity. I mean, the Jewish people said very much the same thing, and we forget that now. And so when you say this, that okay, we are reminded of our own beauty when we see beauty, I say yes, let's do that. I want more of that in the art that we consume, and that's what we're trying to create.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, that's something that's explored a lot in the book, that there's this harsh reality. There's this evil, and there is these people that are capable of such evil, and even the main character it makes terrible mistakes and does terrible things, but that, that's against nature. That's not part of our nature. That's not tied into who we are. It's that in reality, evil is a rejection of our nature, and so we need those reminders where we're like, I want to go with my nature. I want to really be not going against. It's pretty simple. And I think that that idea of humanity is a virus is very very, I don't know. I think that definitely doesn't make sense to me. I don't really know much about Stephen Hawking, but that idea that we are the problem is like, we do make problems, that's for sure, but we're also capable of making the solutions. We can't eat individually. I think we're not going to come up with all decisions all at one time, but we've accomplished a lot. And I think that science, when it's science is an incredible thing. One of my favorite subjects in school was biology. I really loved biology because it was about exploring our nature and exploring the nature around us and getting a better appreciation of it. And I just remember when I took that subject just thinking like, man, this is incredible. So I think the scientists who say like, we're a plague on our earth, it's just they're kind of missing what they're looking at, They can't see the forest from trees. So yeah, for sure, I agree with that.
I'd love to circle back a bit when we're talking about, you mentioned the music and how the music of Gustavo influenced that scene. Can you say a little bit more about how that might have inspired the Unfollowed? Because I know you put your music at the beginning of each chapter.
Yeah, so that's kind of a big thing for me when I write. I always like to put in a little music reference for the reader, like, you should go listen to this. And that's something I did in the Unfollowed. At the beginning of each chapter, I referenced a song by an artist, and the idea is that someone who's reading this chapter can go and listen to this song, and this song will give them a little bit of the feel that this chapter is what they're supposed to feel, and what the feeling of the characters is in this chapter. Some of the lyrics in the songs kind of speak some of the thoughts of the characters, and some of them don't. Some of them are just the music kind of has that feeling. And for me, music is a huge deal. I really love listening to music, and that's always been very tied into my storytelling. Like, I listen to music always when I'm writing. And the music of Gustavo, whatever his name is, he's an incredible musician, I think, and artist in my opinion. And he did the soundtrack for The Last of Us, which really elevated the whole story a lot, because I think that when music is put together with stories, it really resounds even more with the person listening or watching.
And when you say that, I was like, I'm thinking back to all the video games that I've played, and I think I'd have a hard time putting something else ahead of it. And there are games that I think I've had more fun playing because they're more my style. But as far as an artistic work, I think that is one of the best all time. So I'm gonna just change my opening statement just a touch, if that's okay.
Yeah. But especially for the first half of the book, but also through the rest of the book, I was constantly listening to the music of The Last of Us. So it wasn't just the story itself from playing the game, but it was also the soundtrack that inspired the Unfollowed. Because I think there's stories within each song, and they're not necessarily the story that Gustavo meant to tell. You know, I think that's something when you create something that's beautiful. Each person who listens to it or watches it or reads it,
we internalize it our own way.
right, is able to internalize it and kind of create their own story based on it. And so that was kind of a little bit of what I did there when I listened to it, and all the different songs that I referenced inside the book went into what was inspiring me at the time, what I was listening to and I was thinking, what I was feeling. And I think that's one of the powerful things about music, is that you are able to take it and make it your own. Whatever you're going through in life at that moment is, you project it into the music, and it helps you, or it doesn't help you if it's not a good song or not good music. But Gustavo does good music, and so even I think one of the chapters, probably my favorite chapter, 11, I think it is, that I just directly like put in a song by Gustavo from The Last of Us, because it was just like, this song was absolutely perfect for this chapter, and I couldn't think of anything better than this song right here. I wanted the readers to be able to listen to that and get that feel.
You know, all of this talking about song has really made me want to do. We need to do a project kind of akin to Baby Driver, where it's one long music video. Because that would be just perfect. How about that? You want to do that?
Yeah, 100% down for that.
Good. Well, that'll be the next thing we try out. But I'm out of whiskey, so we better finish up. But I'm wondering, before we go, could you by any chance show people how they can buy the Unfollowed? That way we can just show people where they can read this here book.
Yeah, so this is the Unfollowed. Are we looking at the
Yes.
here now? All right, so this is the Unfollowed website, the unfollowed.weebly.com. It's pretty cool. It's very simple, very straightforward, so it's easy. This is one of the ways. It's available on Amazon, so you can come to the website here, and you can choose if you want paperback or Kindle. So you go to paperback, the Unfollowed, $12.95, pretty good price there on Amazon. And so you can get it here. It's real simple. I think everyone knows how to use Amazon right here.
And I'm holding up the book right now. I got my copy.
Yes, sir. Or you can go to the website. It's simple that way, the unfollowed.weebly.com. Or you could just go to Amazon and search the Unfollowed by Peter Pinedo. Either way, it should be good.
Great. Well, we're out of time for today. I apologize again, folks, about being late. But I hope you guys can watch this here archive video on YouTube. Pinedo Brothers is our channel on YouTube. You can check that out. Or you could also check us out on Instagram, just at Pinedo Brothers. Very simple. In any case, I'm James Pinedo.
And I'm Peter Pinedo.
We'll see you all next time.